Right now at 6, the Missouri Department of Conservation releases numbers on the recently ended deer hunting season.
And we've got ourselves a chilly start out there ahead of another warm day across the area, but some changes coming into that forecast. We'll take a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, how you might be able to save some money this tax season.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 6 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So one thing that you might notice is missing from your screen, or you're going to think that Caitlin and I are somehow out of proportion here. It's the closings at the bottom of your screen.
That's right.
We've had those running for so long. Kids going back to school today after what has been just a tumultuous return to school following the Christmas break. There was barely a return to the Christmas break. That was delayed because of winter weather last week. They had some days off. Then they come back. They have a day off on Monday. Then they don't go back to school for a couple more days. And then now finally, kids, you're really, truly going back to school today.
Yes.
We're not lying to you. I'm sorry, but it's time. And I'm not a teacher. These AMI days, I'm going to tell you right now, the way they look, 2 times 2 is 4. That's how I learned multiplication. Colt brought me these charts and graphs, and you have to assign measurements to these boxes. It was chaotic, and I had no idea what was even going on in that. And he's just like, it's multiplication. I'm like, no, it's not. It's building a house. It's 4th grade math. It's too confusing.
Oh, Chris.
But you know what's not too confusing? Our forecast and warmer temperatures. These are going to be very straightforward for us today. Our camera top of the Cornell Complex downtown Joplin, a lot less snow out there. We do have some clouds, we do have some breeze, and we do have some cool temperatures, but it's not that bad compared to where we've been out there. You could almost wear shorts this morning. I wouldn't. But I know some of you, 20 degrees isn't that bad, and you may throw on the short shorts today, whatever, tickles your fancy. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. Also, take note, considerably less snow out there because we got a fair amount of melting done yesterday. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we got some clouds. We tried to get some flurries, didn't really add up to much. We do have wind chill advisories running either through tomorrow at noon and for the rest of us through 11 and noon on Saturday because it is going to get downright cold starting tonight. As for today, though, 30 in Joplin, 29 in Pittsburgh. Kids getting on the bus this morning. Hope you are ready. 25, mostly clear, south breeze 5 to 10. That bus turns around, brings them home later today. Low 40s out there. I got 2 boys at home. They're going to go outside and they're going to play and they're going to have a blast. And I'm going to make sure that they do because they need to get outdoors. West breeze 5 to 10 miles an hour. Highs today, low 40s. Much better, mostly cloudy skies, and then the winds pick up tonight, and a cold front rolls through, and our temperatures fall again. We'll have a complete look at that forecast and those big changes on the way here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. The Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation released an update to a shooting investigation in Miami. As you may recall, the Miami Police Department requested the OSBI to assist with a homicide investigation on the evening of January 5th. Agents have determined there was an altercation involving multiple people near 2nd Avenue and H Street in Miami. That incident led to the shooting death of 27-year-old Matthew Vince LaCastro. Authorities have not made any arrests in that case. In Dunweg, authorities released an update to a stabbing incident at a bus stop last week. Last Thursday, Jasper County deputies responded to an assault call at the bus station in Dunweg. Deputies found an 18-year-old man from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, with severe injuries to his neck. The man was transported to a local hospital. He has since been released and is recovering. The case is still active, and detectives are asking the public for information. Joplin police are just now releasing information about a crash that happened last week, killing a pedestrian. It happened last Thursday at the intersection of East 32nd Street and South Finley Avenue. Police say a vehicle traveling west on 32nd hit a pedestrian crossing the street. That pedestrian, 59-year-old William Heskett III of Joplin, died of his injuries on Sunday. This marks the 2nd fatal vehicle versus pedestrian crash of the year in Joplin. In Carthage, first responders were called to the Jasper County Courthouse yesterday evening. Fire crews were alerted to an automatic water flow alarm at 6:48 p.m. It is suspected that a line had frozen during the colder temperatures and burst open when it had thawed. The extent of the damage is unknown at this time, as water was coming down from the ceiling. Power is shut off for now till a full assessment can be done, and several court proceedings will be affected by the power outage. You can see the full list on the Jasper County, Missouri website. And you're invited to a public meeting next week to discuss a plan to widen Joplin's West 20th Street. That meeting will be at Twin Hills Country Club Thursday, January 25th from 4 to 6 p.m. The city is in the preliminary phase of the project that would widen and improve 20th Street west of Schifferdecker Avenue. The city is specifically looking for input from property owners in that area. And the deer hunting season that just ended in Missouri appears to be a record breaker. That's according to preliminary numbers from the Missouri Department of Conservation. Missouri's 2023-24 deer hunting season ended on Monday. The department says in total, hunters killed more than 326,000 deer in the state. That beats the 2006 record by about 500. The MDC attributes the increase to a larger deer population and regulation changes that allowed more hunting permits. And as tax season inches closer, credits for residential energy are available in Kansas. The federal government is encouraging everyone to improve home energy by offering a tax credit. Credit for improving home insulation ranges between $250 to $2,000. The credit only applies to improvements made during the year that's filed, meaning the work had to be done in 2023.
For example, if you're able to take a $2,000 credit for insulating your home, that's $2,000 less in taxes that you'll have to pay in the year. So that can be pretty substantial for some people.
Right now, the IRS says that it will officially begin accepting 2023 tax returns on January 29th. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Families of the Americans believed to have been taken hostage by Hamas will meet with U.S. National Security leaders today. Plus, we're less than a week away from New Hampshire's GOP primary. We'll have everything you need to know. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Thursday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Johnson Floor & Home has
At a comfort hotel.
Mom made this.
I added the garnish. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, good news for home buyers and sellers. Mortgage rates are declining. The average rate is about 6.6%. That's more than a full percentage point lower than last year's high of 7.79. Confidence among home builders is surging, but what's really needed to beef up the market is for existing homeowners to become more willing to sell. That requires interest rates low enough to encourage them to give up their current loan rates. Another concern is an expansion in home building could lead to material shortages and labor cost increases. As of now, mortgage applications for all types of homes are climbing. And testimony from Hunter Biden's art dealer is raising questions about the ethical safeguards around his work. Georges Burgess says that his 2020 contract allowed him to give buyers' names to the president's son. He says he never did so, and the provision came out of the contract the next year. The White House says safeguards like buyer anonymity went into place in the summer of 2021, but the contract wasn't official until September, and that has some questioning the timeline. Burgess says Hunter Biden knew of 2 buyers, his lawyer and a woman then House Speaker Nancy Pelosi recommended for an appointment. The dealer denies anyone got political favors in return for their purchases. And veteran actor Pierce Brosnan maintains that he's innocent of petty charges related to a hike in Wyoming's Yellowstone National Park in late December. The 70-year-old actor, known for playing James Bond in multiple 007 movies, the Mamma Mia movies, and the Thomas Crown Affair, was cited on December 26. He allegedly walked off the trail and into prohibited thermal areas of the national park. According to court documents, Brosnan entered his not guilty plea through his attorneys on January 4th. And families of the Americans believed to have been taken hostage by Hamas will meet with U.S. national security leaders today. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan plans to speak with those families. Many family members are in Washington, D.C. this week, which is around the 100-day mark of their loved ones being taken during the October Hamas attack. The U.S. believes 6 Americans remain in captivity in Gaza. White House officials say the invite was extended to the family members of all 6 hostages. It's not clear who all attended. And we're less than a week away from New Hampshire's GOP primary. Former President Donald Trump is considered the frontrunner there. The former United Nations ambassador Nikki Haley hopes independence in the state will be the key to her first victory. Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is already shifting his focus to Haley's home state. CBS News correspondent Jared Hill has more from New York.
Just 5 days until New Hampshire's first in the nation primary, former President Trump taking direct aim at Nikki Haley, his closest competition in recent polls.
If she wins, Biden wins.
Chaos follows him. And y'all know I'm right.
New Hampshire's Republican governor backed Haley's claim that the Granite State is a two-person race.
It's a one-on-one race, Haley versus Trump.
This, as CBS News has learned, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is shedding staff, shifting most of his resources to South Carolina.
Donald Trump is running for his issues. Nikki's running for the donors' issues. I'm running for your issues.
Former President Trump continues to split time between the campaign trail and the courtroom. Yesterday, Trump again attended the second New York civil defamation trial brought against him by writer E. Jean Carroll. Wednesday, the judge threatened to bar him over his outbursts during Carroll's testimony. Trump supporters in New Hampshire undeterred by his legal troubles.
It looks like every single time he's in court, it's a lot of baloney, it's a lot of bogus hogwash.
Appearing on The View Wednesday, Vice President Kamala Harris said she's, quote, scared as heck of another Trump victory.
We don't run away from something when we're scared. We fight back against it.
It comes as Maine's Superior Court paused an order blocking Trump from the state's primary ballot, at least until the U.S. Supreme Court weighs in on a similar case from Colorado. Jared Hill, CBS News.
So far, Nikki Haley is the only one of the top 3 GOP candidates with campaign events scheduled in New Hampshire today. Former President Trump is taking a break from the campaign stage to attend his mother-in-law's funeral in Florida. Governor DeSantis has events scheduled for tomorrow before he heads back to South Carolina this weekend. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Now here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are actually looking at another pretty decent day today. However, we're going to start to see colder weather moving in tonight, and we do have wind chill advisories across the area that'll go into effect tonight. In Oklahoma and Arkansas, they run through noon tomorrow. For the rest of us, they run through at least Saturday out there. We're expecting temperatures into the low 40s out there. Clouds increasing this afternoon, then a cold front comes in tonight and really drops those temperatures. We're going to have another full look at your forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Discover new opportunities together in a
dental indentures in Jay, Oklahoma.
Nominations are open for the 4 states' finest. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/finest.
People are running like rats to the rat hole, Chicago's latest selfie hotspot. It appears to be the imprint of a rodent left in wet concrete, like the impressions Wile E. Coyote makes when he falls off cliffs. It's become Chicago's trending rodent tourist attraction. Jeannie Moose reports.
Move over, New York, with your bagel-loving rats. A long-gone Chicago rat is making a deep impression, thanks to artist Winslow Dumaine.
They're starting to call me Rat Hole Guy, so.
In early January, a friend told Winslow about the rat imprint on Chicago's North Side. His reaction?
Immediate laughter.
He ratted out the rat hole by posting this photo, and now people are making pilgrimages to the imprint, posing, leaving money and flowers, even a fake mouse. Residents say the rat hole has been around for more than 20 years, inspiring the occasional tombstone. But now it's being immortalized by a fake priest with a rat head leaving a slice of cheese and fans filling it up.
No, it won't freeze.
With a legendary Chicago liqueur. Something made this impression in fresh concrete.
But is it a rat?
Okay, it's probably a squirrel. It has like the wide hips and the long claws of a squirrel.
Whatever it was, one state representative is touting it as the jewel of the 11th district.
The Chicago rat hole.
But everyone is wondering, did he, get out? Optimists say you can see paw prints
leading away from the splat hole.
It's become the Wile E. Coyote of Chicago. Someone even left an offering of what appear to be hormone pills in a hot flash of inspiration. Let's let the leader of the Rat Pack salute the city's latest tourist attraction.
It's my kind of town, Chicago.
Jeannie Moose, CNN, New York.
That's too funny. Well, now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Indeed, what an interesting impression upon the concrete. And our forecast will certainly make an impression upon you as colder temperatures are set to roll back in. We'll have another look at that when we come back.
Nutritious meals delivered to your door with a side of smiles. Sign up for Pittsburgh's Meals on Wheels today.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:21 now on this Thursday morning, and for many kids, it's really truly the first day back to school because we've had so many snow days here the last few days that, oh boy, yeah, Christmas break was a pretty long one out there. Pretty tough, I imagine, for parents. And I know some kids are excited to go back to school. Some are like, I miss my friends. I want to go back. I want to see my friends. Others are like, really? Can we just go on the rest of the week and try again next week? But unfortunately, Mother Nature warmed us up yesterday, kids. And as you see from our camera on the Cornell complex, considerably less snow out there and considerably less snow from the MoDOT camera. 20th and Range Line in Joplin. Considerably more cars out there as folks get their Thursday commute underway. KDOT camera 69 just south of Pittsburgh. Yesterday we had snow on each side of the highway on the shoulders. No snow to speak of this morning. One thing, though, to keep in mind, especially on your sidewalks and driveways, some of the snow that melted refroze last night. So watch out for some patchy ice on your sidewalk, your driveway. I know parents, you may be excited to run out to the car and throw the kids in there, but don't run too fast because it's going to be pretty slick. And then we have this. It's going to get cold again. No snow, though, kids. Sorry. But it is going to get cold again. We have wind chill advisories for different times running through Friday and into Saturday for us because we have a cold front coming tonight that's going to knock our temperatures way down out there. Skywatch Storm Tracker, some clouds. These are going to roll out of here, and then we'll see additional clouds later. Had a few flurries here and there overnight, but that really didn't add up to much. Our camera 7th and Range Line, you can see still some snow in the piles, but most of it has melted off out there. 30 in Joplin right now. 24 is what it feels like with a southeast breeze at about 6 miles an hour. Temperatures around the region holding steady in the mid to upper 20s out there and still a couple of 30-degree readings here and there. But again, considerably better than where we have been. Wind chills, though, because our temperatures have fallen back a little bit, have dropped back into the teens. So it is, again, a cold one. So kids, you getting on the bus this morning, you need to make sure that you're bundled up out there if you're heading to school because it's a bit of a cold start for us. Our temperatures, though, compared to 24 hours ago, upwards of 10 to 15 degrees warmer now than where we were yesterday at this time. We're going to start the day with sunny skies. And then go partly cloudy by late morning, upper 30s. And as we head into the afternoon, highs today, low 40s. So a lot more melting of whatever may be left should be taking place today. Mostly cloudy skies out there and occasional wind gusts out there. But it'll be tonight into tomorrow that the winds really pick up, starting to come out of the north by tomorrow, upwards of 30 miles an hour, hence those wind chill advisories. And we're going to stay mostly cloudy. Initially, we're not too bad. That doesn't look too bad. We fall back through the 30s, and that cold front comes through tonight, and we fall back into the teens. Some of us maybe even single digits out there, so cold for sure. And then because of that, we're going to have one more Arctic blast. We're going to hang on to the low 20s Friday and Saturday with overnight lows in the single digits and teens. And then as we head into next week, maybe a wintry mix Monday morning. And then it warms up and that transitions to rain. And then we hold on to some much needed rain chances through at least Friday of next week. But we also do this. Temperatures climbing, upper 40s, low 50s, potentially pushing near 60 by next Saturday out there. And take a look at our overnight lows, considerably better as well. So we just have one more Arctic blast to get through. And then as we head into next week, some much nicer temperatures on the way. And that is a check of your forecast. Now we're sending it over to Caitlin with Health Watch.
Well, self-care is a critical part of your well-being. It includes anything you do to keep yourself healthy, both physically and mentally. But many times, parents have a hard time finding the time and may feel badly about taking it. Andy Gaither has tips for parents on how to overcome feelings of so-called mom guilt.
You want to take some you time, but there's dinner to make, laundry to wash, kids to care for. But health experts say self-care is critical for health.
There's a misunderstanding that it's something that's selfish, to take time for ourselves.
Dr. Melissa Young with Cleveland Clinic says parents can overcome guilt by recognizing self-care isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. She says to pretend you have an energy bank.
We have to put deposits into the bank for our energy. We have to put deposits into the bank for calming our nervous system. If we're constantly running on being overdrawn, we're just never going to catch up.
It doesn't have to take long to recharge. If you only have a short time, meditate, go for a quick walk, take a bath, or spend time with friends.
Even if that's 5 minutes in a day to, be by yourself, have a quiet time, do some deep breathing. It's restorative.
Young says not to feel guilty about making ourselves healthier because it can also make us better partners and parents.
When we're stressed all the time, we can be very irritable, and then that doesn't help our relationships or help us necessarily parent any better.
And if your feelings of stress or anxiety get to be overwhelming, Young says a doctor can help. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Young says that parents are role models for their children, so if self-care is a priority for a mom or dad, children are more likely to practice it too. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back.
Help you create a beautiful home.
Kramer's Meats in Joplin, serving great meals to the 4 states since 1955.
Right now it's 6:30. Cold weather has meant big business for some area plumbers.
And we've got ourselves a chilly start out there. We're going to warm up one more time before we get a second Arctic blast. We'll take a look at that forecast. Get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the Gordon Parks Museum hosts its Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration after it was postponed because of the weather.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning, 4 states, and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. The time now is 6:30 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. So, kids, going back to school today?
Yep, it's about time.
I think
the
that's
roads
the thought
are clear.
on many parents' minds right now.
Go
It's
get your education
about
on.
time. But remember, it's only a couple of days, kids, and then you can go have a weekend and then settle back in next week. And next week will be a good opportunity to go to school. We're expecting rain next week. We'll talk about all of that in your full forecast a little later. But first, let's talk about what you need to know to get out the door this morning. This is the MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin. And as you can see, it is considerably clearer than what we have seen the last few days because thanks to yesterday's temperatures into the 30s, we managed to get a fair amount of melting done, which is great news out there. Skywatch Storm Tracker got some clouds out there. These will kick out of here, and then we'll see some additional clouds build in by this afternoon. We even had a few stray flurries this morning for some of us, but that didn't really add up to much. And then we have wind chill advisories for most of the area, but again, because there are multiple forecast offices that cover our viewing area, they all have different expiration times. So we're going to start in Oklahoma and Arkansas. These run until noon tomorrow. For this section of southeastern Kansas, they run until 11 Saturday morning. And then for places like Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Galena, and Points East, they run until noon on Saturday. But one way or another, it's a sign that things are going to get cold out there. We are sitting at 30 degrees in Joplin, 29 in Pittsburgh. As kids board that bus and get that new bus smell going for them, we're looking at 25 degrees, mostly clear skies, south breeze 5 to 10. And when the bus brings them home, this is great. Low 40s out there, mostly cloudy, west breeze 5 to 10 with some occasional gusts. Winds will really start to pick up later this evening ahead of that cold front that's going to drop our temperatures. But at least for today, we're looking pretty good. Mostly cloudy, low 40s out there for our highs. Again, we are going to get cold again, but worry not, warmer weather is around the corner. We'll look at all that in the full forecast a little later. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. The cold temperatures hitting the 4 states have impacted positively some local plumbers. MVP Plumbing says that the number of clients they are attending daily doubled in the last week and a half. Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric is also dealing with an increase, and according to their service manager, his team have been working until bedtime every day.
The signs will always be the pressure will go ahead and lower just a bit. But usually once that pipe is frozen, it's frozen. It's too late. Once it's frozen, it's too late.
Being proactive in preventing your pipes from freezing is much easier and cheaper than being reactive to a busted frozen pipe. Always having peace of mind is the best thing.
To avoid frozen pipes, their recommendations for the freezing days are leaving the faucets dripping and the cabinets open. You can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com to learn other strategies that help avoid frozen pipes. And some kids in Joplin took advantage of the warmer temperatures yesterday. Landreth Park provided the perfect launch pad for some sledding fun. The snow, sun, and sizable hill proved to be the right combination for the whole family.
You get to spend time out here with your family and play around in the snow. There's a lot of hills that have gone up and down and that are just really big and good.
Here's to a few more snow days like this one. And residents of Fort Scott were invited to Fort Scott Community College to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The event, which was supposed to take place on Monday, was delayed due to weather. Participants were encouraged to participate in a food drive for the community. Everyone who came was treated to a free lunch. Then they were invited to listen to a musical performance.
It's important to help keep that history and legacy alive and the hard work that Martin Luther King sacrificed to help to be the fight for freedom, champion social justice. So we want to honor that day, honor this day with that. The
college has hosted this event for 12 years. And students at Northeast High School in Arma, Kansas had a surprise celebrity visitor yesterday. The resigning Miss Kansas, Courtney Wages, made a stop at the high school to promote Envision, a Wichita-based nonprofit that provides vision rehabilitation services. She also talked about driver safety and leadership.
I hope they take away not only how to be a safe driver, but how to be a good leader. We talk about to be a good leader, you have to be able to listen. It's not always the person that talks the loudest or is the tallest, the biggest, that leads. It's someone who is going to ask questions. How can you best service someone and be that leader in your community? And
Courtney Wages was crowned Miss Kansas on June 10th. Liberal High School is showing off the art of some former students. The exhibit features the post-graduation work of several Liberal alumni. The art wasn't judged and no prizes were up for grabs. It was simply a chance to display the art. The showcase runs throughout the Tony DeBray tournament. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. The Biden administration is proposing big changes to the fees banks collect for overdrawn accounts.
But first, we're going to have another look at that forecast, talking about the warmer temperatures we're experiencing or expecting today. We'll look at that when the KOAM Morning News returns.
This week only at your local Ashley store. Delivery. These snowed-in savings are only available at your local Ashley store.
In Consumer Watch this morning, millions of Americans are dealing with freezing temperatures right now, and they may notice that their cars aren't performing as well in the cold. That's particularly true for electric vehicles. But there are things you can do to maximize your EV battery life in the winter weather. Jen Sullivan explains.
As much of the country battles the bitter cold, electric car owners are facing another problem. Their car's performance drops when the temperatures dip. The driving range isn't as long and the charge isn't as strong.
EV batteries just tend to perform a little less.
Andrew Garberson works at Recurrent, an electrical vehicle battery research company. He says there are two issues that contribute to these problems. One, the electric car batteries operate on chemical reactions, and when it's cold, those chemical reactions slow down, and that reduces the car's driving range. The second issue is when it's cold, we crank up the heat. In electric cars, though, the heaters run on stored energy, which means less energy for driving long distances.
A lot of the reason that an EV will lose range in the winter is because it has to work so hard to keep its driver warm.
Tests by the consumer advocacy group Consumer Reports showed that EV driving range dropped by 25% on average in highway cruising in sub-freezing weather when compared to days with warmer temperatures. There is some good news, though.
There is no lasting impact on an EV battery from cold weather.
So what can you do if you're driving an electric vehicle in these frigid temperatures? AAA has some tips. 1. Preheat your car while it's plugged in. That will save energy. 2. Use seat warmers to help stay warm. They're more energy efficient and use far less power than your heater. And lastly, make sure you have winter tires to combat the snow. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
And your car's age can also contribute to its battery life. Older electric cars won't drive as far. And a new Commerce Department report shows consumer sales are on the rise. These sales rose an unexpected 0.6% in December compared to the previous month. It was an increase of 5.6% compared to December of last year. The big holiday shopping season numbers were driven up in part by clothing and car sales. And the Biden administration is proposing big changes to the fees banks collect for overdrawn accounts. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is recommending fees as low as $3 instead of $30 fees at some banks. Banks collect an estimated $9 billion a year in these additional costs. The White House says that's an unnecessary burden, especially for those living paycheck to paycheck. And Samsung has unveiled its latest generation of smartphones. The Galaxy S24 series featuring enhanced artificial intelligence and translation features. The Galaxy S24s also include higher resolution photo and video options with AI editing tools. The new smartphones range in price from $800 to $1,300 and will be available in stores January 31st. Newly released surveillance video is shedding light on the possible mental state of a Salt Lake City, Utah airport passenger who was recently killed. On January 1st, 30-year-old Kyler Effinger ran through the airport and managed to get out on the tarmac, only to meet an untimely death. Reporter Amy Nay has more.
You know, these moments always give us an opportunity to reflect on what could happen. What if something else had occurred? What if there had been an encounter of some sort?
Airport officials earlier this week addressing the apparent security breach January 1st when 30-year-old Kyler Effinger from Park City had some sort of a mental health episode and eventually made his way through secure areas and onto a de-icing runway where he was killed by an engine.
We're very empathetic and sympathetic to the recommendations of the family.
Bill Wyatt, Executive Director of Airports for Salt Lake City, answering reporter questions on what resources are available at the airport for those who are struggling with their mental health, adding more will come in Phase 4 for the airport.
For us, the conclusion is it's a really sad, tragic event.
Not much is known leading up to the event, but according to police, Effinger was a ticketed passenger. You can see him running up to the gate, trying to open the door. It looks like he was talking to one of the airport employees before running off. Police say it was just before 10 p.m. A store manager inside the airport reported a disturbance involving a passenger on the secured side of the terminal.
From beginning to end, it was about 10 minutes.
In this video, he's seen running up to a different Delta gate, unable to open the door. He's then seen hitting the window and throwing his shoes before taking off.
He went quite a distance between there and there.
Kicking the door to a stairway open and running down the stairs, still holding his shoes. This is where we believe he gained access to the de-icing ramp. The airport explained that he ran to the south end of the airport's west runway and eventually crawled into the engine of a plane. First responders worked to get Effinger out of the area and performed life-saving efforts on him, including CPR and administration of naloxone. However, he died at the scene. His family says he was traveling to visit a sick relative, but had struggled with mental health for nearly a decade.
Serious, you don't want civilians wandering around on the airfield.
Multiple national agencies continue to investigate what went wrong, but Wyatt says overall, he believes their response was sufficient.
From a security perspective, the entire airport family really pulled together, communicated effectively, and addressed this in a very short order.
And dozens of additional security video clips are being reviewed. Effinger's official cause of death has not been released. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Now here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're taking a look at the MoDOT camera 20th and Range line in Joplin. And as you can see, more cars, less snow. Thanks to those warmer temperatures yesterday that allowed us to get a fair amount of melting done. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we have some clouds out there. These will push out and we'll have a brief moment of some clear skies through the morning hours before we see clouds return later today. Did have a few flurries trying to work in this morning, but again, they didn't really add up to much of anything. Then we have wind chill advisory advisories. That's a sign of things to come for southeast Kansas for this section until 11 o'clock Saturday, for here and east until noon Saturday, and Oklahoma and Arkansas, these run until noon tomorrow, as we do have one more Arctic blast ahead of us before we do settle in to a longer period of much more seasonable and even warmer than normal temperatures as we head into next week. 30 degrees in Joplin right now, 28 degrees in Pittsburgh as kids get on the bus this morning, which, by the way, they're going to have to do, unfortunately. 25 at 7 a.m., mostly clear skies, south breeze 5 to 10. This afternoon when the bus brings them home, low 40s out there with a west breeze at 5 to 10. Highs today into the low 40s under mostly cloudy skies. Again, ahead of a cold front tonight with increasing winds and decreasing temperatures. We'll have more on that in your full forecast here in just a moment. It's also just about time to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. Those are coming up after the break. But first, these fine folks in New York City getting ready for CBS Mornings. So let's see what they've got coming up on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCople. Coming up on CBS Mornings, Broadway star Andrew Reynolds joins us to talk about starring in Gutenberg the Musical. Plus, country music legend, big plus here, Reba McEntire will share a very special announcement with us. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Driving a new Honda is as easy as 1, 2, 3 at no extra cost. It's the warranty forever, only at Roper Honda on virtually every vehicle.
Your warranty lasts forever at Roper Honda.
Time for some Thursday birthdays here in the 4 states, and we are going to begin in Parsons with Madison Shepard celebrating birthday number 18. Says, happy birthday, baby duck. Love, Mom.
And happy 44th birthday to Justin Schultz over in Crestline, Kansas.
And in Kincaid, Kansas, Megan Mason celebrating another year wiser. Happy birthday, Megan.
And we have a twins birthday. Happy 57th birthday to Debbie Red and Jimmy Pingree.
And in Chatopa, Michelle Hildebrand celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Michelle.
And taking it over to Mulberry, Kansas, happy 16th anniversary to Dwayne and Christy Willie.
All right, what a good list, but it was a short list.
It was short.
It was very short. We need this list to be considerably longer. Caitlin, what do they need to do?
Well, we know there's more birthdays and anniversaries out there, so you got to submit them at birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com and be sure to include pictures and any messages.
And of course, make sure you meet that deadline that is printed there on the bottom of that graphic. And of course, we know that there are literally hundreds of birthdays a year. Hundreds of them. So there's got to be a few more taking place here in the 4 states, so do make sure you submit those to us. All right, let's take a look outside. This is our camera on top of the Cornell Complex, downtown Joplin. We have some clouds out there. These will clear out before more clouds return. And what we don't have is an ample supply of snow. We managed to get a fair amount of melting done yesterday. MoDOT camera 20th and range line in Joplin. Again, relatively clear roads out there. Same from the KDOT camera on 69 south of Pittsburgh. The only snow that's immediately visible is here in the ditch. And you shouldn't be driving in the ditch, so the roads are much better. We do have wind chill advisories heading into the overnight hours tonight and then through Friday at noon for Oklahoma and Arkansas, and then through Saturday for the rest of southeast Kansas and in southwest Missouri as well. Different expiration times, but only within an hour of each other on Saturday. Skywatch Storm Tracker is clear aside from these clouds. We had a few light flurries this morning, but those didn't really add up to much and have since gone away. Looking right now at our camera 7th and range line, if you look close enough, you can see some clouds out there. We are sitting at 30, feels like 24, so it's chilly, but not that bad. Southeast breeze at about 6 miles an hour. Temperatures around the region much better than where they have been lately. We're into the 20s, the low to mid 20s for the most part. We got some upper 20s and right at 30, Lamar, Carthage, and of course, as we mentioned, in Joplin right now. The wind chill, though, we are getting a bit of a breeze, so it is cold. We're back into the mid-teens out there, so make sure kids getting on the bus today that they do bundle up this morning. They will still want a nice jacket by the time they get off the bus, but it's going to be considerably better. And our temperatures around the region, anywhere from 10 to upwards of 15 degrees warmer now than we were at this same time 24 hours ago. So talk about a relatively significant improvement. As we get our morning started, we're going to have those sunny skies initially. We'll start to see partly cloudy skies by late morning. Temperatures into the the upper 30s. So used to temperatures being colder. Upper 30s by late late morning out there ahead of some big changes tonight. We're going to talk about that in your full forecast in just a moment, as well as the news you need to know. And when we make the transition over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., we're going to see why an online charity telethon where the audience is entertained by people who play video games.
With the Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm.
Part of the 891st Engineer Battalion and earned a Bronze Star. We are proud to salute William Culley, a 4-state hero.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation released an update to a shooting investigation in Miami. As you may recall, the Miami Police Department requested the OSBI to assist with a homicide investigation on the evening of January 5th. Agents had determined there was an altercation involving multiple people near 2nd Ave and H Street in Miami. That incident led to the shooting death of 27-year-old Matthew Vincent LaCastro. Authorities have not made any arrests in that case. And Joplin police are just now releasing information about a crash that happened last week, killing a pedestrian. It happened last Thursday at the intersection of East 32nd Street and South Finley Ave. Police say a vehicle traveling west on 32nd Street hit a pedestrian crossing the street. The pedestrian, 59-year-old William Heskett III of Joplin, died of his injuries on Sunday. This marks the second fatal vehicle versus pedestrian crash of the year in Joplin. In Carthage, first responders were called to the Jasper County Courthouse yesterday evening. Fire crews were alerted to an automatic water flow alarm at 6:48 p.m. It is suspected that a line had frozen during the colder temperatures and burst open when it had thawed. The extent of the damage is unknown at this time as water was coming down from the ceiling. Power is shut off for now till a full assessment can be done, and several court proceedings will be affected by the power outage. You can see the full list on the Jasper County, Missouri website. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And as we head into the afternoon, we are looking at temperatures into the low 40s, so a lot more melting taking place today. Mostly cloudy skies across the area. Now through the evening, we stay mostly cloudy and then winds begin to pick up. And as we go overnight, a cold front pushes through, drops our temperatures back down into the teens out there. And because of that, that's why we have those wind chill advisories. Temperatures low 20s Friday and Saturday, still breezy on Friday. Overnight lows single digits and teens. However, once we get past that, we're going to start to warm back up. So this is a brief Arctic blast, maybe a brief wintry mix Monday morning, then rain chances next week through Friday. Temperatures continue to climb into the upper 40s, low 50s, and even pushing near 60 degrees potentially by next Saturday.
All right.
That'll be a lot better in a few more days.
I bet. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making a healthy slow cooker comfort soup in the Mr. Food Test kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Next on CBS Mornings, go on board the world's largest cruise ship. You can do so with Chris Van Cleve as he got an exclusive tour of the massive ship that's getting ready to set sail with nearly 10,000 people.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Paul Lyle joins us in studio to talk about the American Red Cross Community Blood Drive and the Battle of the Badges.
Plus, Rafi Andonia also joining us in the studio to talk about the history of the finest organic suspension ever devised, coffee. Something that keeps us going here every day. That's going to wrap it up for us for now, though. We had so much fun doing this, or at least did you have fun?
I had the best time ever.
Excellent.
Chris.
Well, then we had so much fun doing this, and I tell you what, we'll show up here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. and do it again.
And we'll see you today at noon.
It's coming. Thunder's rolling into the
It's a toll on the farmer, and we don't get vacation.